Hello guys, Sky here, and today we're having probably the most exotic episode, made just because I'm a fan. So I've been doing a video about Falcon 1 rocket, and some people are telling me to stick to the airplanes and come back to Earth, so here goes. Oh yeah, there's a lot of space apparatuses, rockets, satellites, telescopes, but who can remember them all? Whereas any school kid will recognize this thing, especially considering those crazy marketing campaigns Disney runs before releasing every new Star Wars movie, when teasers and trailers start pouring out of every hole. Today we're looking at probably the most famous spaceship ever built. And who cares that it doesn't really exist? The Millennium Falcon, a light interstellar freighter manufactured by the Corellian Engineering Corporation a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. An unusual design, a cool history, and Harrison Ford behind the wheel almost made it into a Star Wars character of its own. First, a little fictional history. Originally, the Millennium Falcon was a simple serial model of YT-1300 type light freighter, manufactured on Corellia. Probably not this Corellia, but who knows. It was produced roughly 60 years before the events of Episode 4, The New Hope, which means that during the attack on the first Death Star, it was about as old as B-52 bomber is now, and it gets the same comments as the Stratofortress.
What a piece of junk!
Thanks to their light weight, speed and universality, the ships of this type were quite popular. By the way, knowing its age, it's safe to say that Falcon already existed during the prequel trilogy. And it did make an appearance. If you're a hopeless fan of the saga and you have no girlfriend, you could notice in one of the scenes in the beginning of Revenge of the Sith.
Move in. Stop. Enhance 34 to 36. Enhance 15 to 23.
Bam! Around the 55th year of its life, the ship was won in a card game by Lando Calrissian.
Lando Calrissian!
Come here. You can call me Billy D.
Yes, Lando, yes.
Who, sometime later, lost it in the same game to its most famous owner, Han Solo. What do you think is Harrison Ford's secret? Rich people can have cars, planes and yachts, but no one has the Millennium Falcon. Also, Lando Calrissian, funny, the actor Billy D. Williams once said in an interview to the Ebony magazine that Calrissian is an Armenian name, which suggests that he's a person of the universe. But that was obvious. I mean, look, he's a typical Yerevan guy.
Again with the Armenians?
Anyway, Lando was the first one to make a lot of modifications to the Falcon. Mainly the secret compartments, used to hide contraband and sometimes himself. Later, Solo and Chewbacca reinforced the onboard armor with duralloy plates. Apparently duraluminum wasn't popular in the far, far away. The advantages of duralloy over the Durell are obvious. This hunk of junk can withstand a direct hit from an Imperial Star Destroyer, with just a little shaking inside. Honestly, what will happen to a simple airplane if you shoot it with a modern battleship cannon? However, the ship is not without its flaws. While being almost indestructible in battle, it doesn't have a very high exploitation reliability. The interior of the ship was also not designed by the Emirates. Everything's modest, authentic, but not particularly comfortable. Although, who needs all those chairs and multimedia if you have a Deseret board, at which everyone can get their asses kicked by the co-pilot? Oh yeah, engines and avionics. The Millennium Falcon is equipped with engines by General Electric. Of course not. Hell if I know what engines it's equipped with. But whatever they are, they can accelerate the ship to 1.5 light speed. So they're about as efficient as the Pratt & Whitney F-119 engines on F-22 Raptors. Lifting capacity of the ship is about 100 tons, almost like on Boeing 747. And the Falcon is 2 times smaller than the jumbo jet. Yeah, those fictional ships sure have great flight characteristics. Now then, Harrison Ford and Peter Mayhew, I mean Han Solo and Chewbacca, made a bunch of upgrades to their little bird and started making money, mostly by smuggling stuff. They had a lot of adventures and were getting a whole movie about it pretty soon. But of course the most interesting part started on Tatooine, when Solo met new customers, an old-timer, a farm boy, an automated vacuum cleaner and a killjoy robot. What happened next, we already know. Although the Falcon's ventures are not over yet. Unlike its captains, who got killed by... oh god, why'd you have to take that helmet off? Stupid Adam Driver. Alright, now let's come back to Earth and look how the ship was really built. Originally there were a lot of versions, but they all seemed too ordinary. George Lucas admitted that the general design was inspired by the hamburger with an olive attached to its side. The hamburger, of course, was repainted many times, and as a result, we got what we see in the movies. The first model, shot in episode 4, was about 1.5 meters long. Special supports and cranes were used to move this model in front of the camera, visualizing the flight. For closer shots of the exterior, it was necessary to build a full-size model. But that was too expensive, especially considering that at that time, Lucas's film was thought to be a ridiculous art house movie. So only the right half of the ship was built full-size. Knowing this, you can notice that in the up-close shots of the Falcon, the camera is pointed the way you can only see a half of the ship. We can only see it whole and up-close when Princess Leia first sees it. But that shot was actually a handcrafted picture. The interior of the ship was made separately. The main spot, the cockpit, was filled with all kinds of improvised equipment, and the windshield was inspired by the cockpit of the B-29 bomber. The New Hope turned out to be extremely successful, and in order for the Empire to strike back, the sequel received a lot more resources. This time, the entire full-size model was built, which weighed 25 tons. The interiors were also modified and supplemented. In the new movie, there were a lot more scenes in space. The thing is, it was hard to make a 1.5 meter model to actively maneuver, so in its stead a smaller version was used. It behaved a lot more agile on the screen, which is noticeable. During a scene in the asteroid field, the cranes were working in full, leading the ship away from the pursuers and asteroids, which were actually potatoes. Some decades later, while shooting The Force Awakens, director J.J. Abrams decided to take an old-school approach. A highly detailed full-size model of the Falcon was built, this time fully equipped on the inside. The question remains, did the director really need it? Or did the fanboy just want to build a Millennium Falcon? 2 cockpits were made for shooting, one as a part of the whole ship, and another one on hydraulics for flight imitation. In dynamic flight scenes, a miniature was used once again, with some additional computer-generated details. The Millennium Falcon became one of the most famous starships. Creators of the Firefly TV series, while designing their ship Serenity, were drawing inspiration from the Falcon. And the guys from SpaceX just went and named their entire family of carrier rockets Falcons. Despite the fact that the Millennium Falcon is, putting it mildly, not young in the Star Wars universe, as well as in ours, its story is not over yet. We will see it again in The Last Jedi. I hope the new episode doesn't disappoint. After all, it is a movie that uses top Hollywood actors and British princes as background extras. That's it for today. Relax, I'm not doing a movie lineup. It's a harsh world of the nostalgia critic. But still, don't forget to leave a comment about how shameless I am. And instead of making videos about airplanes, I'm just doing nonsense. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. Fast flights, soft landings, and may the Force be with you, my friends.